And I got two pictures to illustrate the health of the European Union. These are the opinion polls that are done across the European Union over the years. And they're quite interesting because they do show the state of the politics of Europe. What you see here is what are the concerns of people of the European Union, which issues are dominating. And I would only highlight the fact that for a very long time it was it's the economy stupid, as Clinton said. We went through very rough economic times, particularly after the 2008 financial crisis. And the European Union was dominated by the one crisis meeting after the other. They all looked rather messy. None of them succeeded to sort out the crisis, but the combination of them evidently did. And you can see that concern with the state of the economy is going down very rapidly. That is a consequence of the European economy is going up. And as a matter of fact, during the last quarters, we are above the Americans in terms of economic growth rate, even if you take the population factor into account. But then the rise of other issues, the rise of terrorism, as has been alluded to previously here, and the migration crisis, particularly the 2015, which already been alluded to. I would say the migration crisis of 2015 was a traumatic experience for a number of countries, not because of the numbers. The Secretary mentioned 1.2 million. Sounds like a lot, but it's 0.2% of the population. And it's roughly, by the way, the number of people that are moving to EU countries every year anyhow. But it was, as was alluded to also, it was the sense of loss of control that was there. And accordingly, the need to adjust policies, and that is ongoing, but you see that starting to change as well. But here you can see economic crisis was sorted out, agenda has shifted, but also a positive tendency. And if you look at the next picture, which is overall confidence in the European Union, you can see the last few periods have been a not insignificant increase in confidence in the European Union. Why, you might add, when you read in the newspapers about populism and things like that? Well, I alluded to what I call the BTP effect that we have had in virtually every country. And the BTP effect is a combination of Brexit, Putin, and Trump. And the combination of that has led to a rise in support for the European Union between 5 and 10% in virtually every country where polling has taken place. Brexit has illustrated how really integrated our economies and society really are. I mean, we are more integrated than we were aware of. And accordingly, breaking loose is a very complicated process, as will be demonstrated. Putin, I leave Fyodor to sort out, but we are not entirely happy with the way Russian policies have been developing, to put it mildly. And Trump has, of course, challenged the liberal global and the rules-based global order of which we are a part. And accordingly, this is the state of the European Union. Second remark from my side, just briefly, alluding to the previous debates here, and we've already been there, the concept of sovereignty, which the Americans are talking quite a lot about at the moment. I'm a European, and I have a different view of this. Sovereign states competing with each other without a rules-based order between them has been throughout European history. That's the lesson from the Peloponnesian Wars onwards, a recipe for war, disaster, and catastrophe. So the fact that we believe in sharing sovereignty is not a theoretical concept. It is a consequence of very horrible experience, not only during hundreds of years, but probably during thousands of years in our part of the world. As concerns sovereignty, I think the European concept is that you gain real sovereignty by sharing formal sovereignty. The Europe of dreams that was there before has perhaps faded somewhat. I agree with that, it has. But I would say the Europe of real practical need has surged in recent decades. I remember when I started some time ago to deal with these issues, it was in the treaties that we were supposed to have 2 summit meetings every year. That was supposed to be enough. Lisbon Treaty, we doubled that to 4 summit meetings every year. I think last year we had 12 summit meetings. That is not because heads of state and government are underemployed and want to go to Brussels and entertain themselves. That is not the reason. The reason is that our nations are too small. Even the biggest of nations, we're too small to manage the issues that are there. And you need to sit around that particular table and do these compromises, painful, messy, half-baked, but absolutely essential in order to manage the issues that we have. Migration is only one of them. No one had thought that we needed to develop a common asylum policy.